We are live. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to my new show, Out of the Unknown. Well, my special guest today is Mark Christopher Lee. He's a documentary maker. He's in bands, music. He loves his music. 76 albums. What more can we ask? And he loves he's got more into UFO and paranormal now. Can we please welcome Mark to the show? Hello there.
Hi, Bob. Thank you very much for having me on.
It's a pleasure. I want to ask you about how did you get into music and in Huddersfield?
Yeah, Huddersfield's my hometown, and I guess I went to technical college there and ended up studying music at the School of Music there, which is quite renowned. So, yeah, studied classical music there, which is great, and then kind of ditched the music for a little bit. Went to university down south, got a science degree down south. Got a science degree, which has been useful in my UFO and paranormal pursuits, and then ended up forming bands in London around about '98. A band called the Pocket Gods, which has been going 25 years now, which is like wow, 25 years, and we never quite made it, but we've had a lot of high-profile champions along the way, like John Peel, more recently Tom Robinson. Calls me a willful maverick, which is about right. So we just do what we want, and I guess we're infamous now for our campaign for better royalties from Spotify. So we just started writing 30-second songs because that's when you get paid for a royalty. So why write longer songs? You're getting paid so little. So we did a series of albums of just 30-second songs. First one had 100, got a Guinness World Record for most tracks on an album. Then we did 500, and then we did 1,000 songs on one album, which is absolutely crazy.
That is crazy.
So we hold the Guinness World Record for most songs on an album.
When you talk about royalties, why don't you get a lot then?
You get very little for a stream. Just for instance, our last album had 1,000 songs on. Okay, it did really well. Got loads of publicity. We've had about 1.6 million streams, which sounds great, doesn't it? I'd say I've made about 400 quid from that.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's absolutely crazy. And somebody's, you always follow the money. Someone's making money somewhere, and I know the consumer, the listeners, basically got a good deal. You pay 10, 11 quid a month and you got access to every song in the world. So but that campaign, I made a film about it, and that got me into filmmaking. So I did a couple of films about my band, which are out on Amazon, you can watch. But then I thought, I'm going to make a film about something that, my hobby, my passion, which is UFOs and the paranormal. And that's what's kind of driving me at the moment.
Mark, how did you get into into the UFO paranormal then? What made you go in that side?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. I get asked this question quite a lot. Firstly, when I was a kid growing up, I used to watch one of my favorite programs was Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World. And that to me was more scary than Doctor Who. That was like, well, this is real stuff. There's a guy that's investigating these poltergeists or whatever they are, or UFOs. And it's like, just opened my mind that there might be more to physical reality than what we, currently perceiving. So that's what kind of opened my mind a little bit. And then I had my own unexplained paranormal, possibly maybe UFO experience when I was a child. And I didn't have a particularly happy childhood. And before all the rubbish stuff started, I had some sort of visitation in the night. Some big kind of blue portal opened and a face appeared on the wall, telling me that everything was going to be all right. And at the time, I took that as a kind of an angelic thing that happened. I don't know what it is. Looking back now, it's like maybe it was something else. It was something unexplained, something real. I wasn't asleep. It had a profound impact on me, and that's kind of opened, my mind to that. Yeah, I think there's more to this world than we can perceive with our normal senses. I think there's something else, intangible, non-material. The current mode of physics just can't quite get its head round.
Does it run in your family then? Does anybody else add anything to them?
I don't think so, to be honest. But I do. The more I've spoken to more and more people about this, I think that most people have this, and especially as a child, I think you're more open to it. I think my kids have seen stuff. My wife, she's very open to this, and it definitely runs in her family. But I think everyone has this, you know, ability to access what I sometimes call the mental internet. It's something else like the ether. Uh, but through society and everything, we get it knocked out of us. It's not, we're in too busy in the materialistic, let's get things done world, and we don't kind of open our spirit, I guess. And I don't want to sound too new agey because I told you I have a science degree, so I'm quite a rational person, and that's my approach to UFOs and the paranormal. Is that you've got to rule out all the obvious stuff. You've got to take a science
True.
approach to it, but some things that science just can't explain.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you see something in the sky, you're trying to figure out what else could it be out there.
Yeah, you're always doing that, aren't you? I
Yeah,
mean,
you've got to think about it.
yeah. I mean, I've spoken to so many people now, and seen a lot of evidence that there's people are seeing something in the skies. Doesn't to mean it's from another planet, but it's something unexplained. It could be from other dimensions, other realities. It could be some part of life that we just can't comprehend usually, and sometimes there's a crossover. I mean, I guess like you, I'm searching for the answers. I don't pretend to have them at the moment, but I know, and I've spoken to enough credible people and seen enough credible evidence that there's something that's not aircraft, it's not natural lights, it's not stars, it's not etc etc. There's something that people experience, and I think a lot of it is tied to the person or to people, and I think we are integral. It's like you can't have reality without mind shaping it.
I
I've
think there's
finished that.
places. I think there's places around the UK and around the world where there's certain certain places where
Sure.
pockets of things happen.
I think
I
you're right.
might see something and somebody else might not be able to see that.
Uh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but you are right. There is something about the planet, certain areas that maybe gateways to this strangeness. People call it high strangeness, don't they? And I think that's quite a good description, really. I mean, for instance, I live in Hertfordshire now, and I live in a 900-year-old village called Sandridge, uh, and it's allegedly built on a ley line. I mean, ley lines, maybe they have some sort of significance.
Yeah.
And we've got this TV show which is coming out on Christmas Eve on Sky, channel 186 at 7 o'clock. It's called All I Want for Christmas is a UFO. Okay, a bit of a jokey title, as you do.
Like it.
But the idea behind it is using the CE5, Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind protocols, trying to meditate and try and beckon presences, alien or whatever, to come and visit us. And so we tried this in the countryside, thinking this is probably a good location. There's a lot of history in Sandridge. There's been a lot of Roman soldier hauntings and things like that. So there's definitely something here. And we actually tried it and we filmed it. And I can tell you, we did see something unexplained. And it's on film. We saw a lot of stuff we did explain. Saw a lot of planes, and we saw Venus, which is very bright that night, and we saw satellites. So we ruled out all the obvious, and we're left with, okay, we don't know what that is.
Do you think some of these alien entities are from our future?
Wow, yeah, I like that idea. And I know Steven Spielberg has obviously made films all his career about this, and talking to a lot of experts, he seems to think that, yeah, basically, especially the greys that supposedly visiting us, they're actually us 20, 30, 40,000 years in the future. And there's I think some scientists, isn't there, in America, that's actually evolutionary scientists that looked at this and think, yeah, that's what we'll look like. Given evolutionary path, that's what we'll look like. So that's like, well, but then it begs the question, okay, that may explain it, but why are they coming back? What is it? Is there some sort of tourist thing going on? Or?
I think they was on Earth originally,
Right.
and then when things went and the Earth where we've got Ice Age and all that, they disappeared, left us, and they've gone to futures in the future now, and they might come back again when things settle down again.
Okay, so they were there pre-Ice Age, maybe,
Yes,
and then they developed technology back then that allowed them to time travel into the future. Is that what you're saying?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, I like that theory. I mean, that kind of ties in with a lot of Graham Hancock stuff about how there is a lost civilization, and what we know
Definitely.
about history and ancient history is it's not necessarily wrong, but it's not it's not right, and there's a lot of
Well,
missing history.
there's a lot missing in between.
Mm,
But you know, you never know. How did you come out? You know, you're talking about this documentary.
mm.
How did you come with gods and aliens?
Well, I was because no one's ever approached this before. Obviously, first contact or disclosure, whichever one you want to pick, would have a massive impact on society. I know we've been growing for it for a long time through media, through films, etc., about aliens and all that sort of stuff. But how would it actually affect, say, religion, Christianity, all the main ones? How would it affect? You go from, there's one God that rules over us, and that's where we go when we die. Okay, so aliens come along. Have they got the same God? Where do the aliens go when they die? Have they got a different God? It opens up
Exactly.
lots of weird questions. And would the aliens say, if they've got their own gods, would they impose them on us and some sort of weird reverse colonialism?
Because I think it was saying when you look into Egypt and places
Mm,
like that,
mm.
um, they were praying for different gods then. They all had different ones, didn't they?
They
I don't
did.
think I don't think much has changed over the years because there's all different religions now. They must look at us sometimes,
Mm.
aliens, when they're looking down at us. They're always fighting. They're always war against each other.
Yeah,
It's no wonder they don't want to come and show up in main cities at the moment.
yeah. It is a bit of a mess, isn't it? I mean, where do you stand on? Because some people, like Dr. Stephen Greer, he seems to think that all aliens are benevolent and they're here to help us and they're not here to harm us. Whereas you've got people like Luis Elizondo who thinks that they're a threat. You've got other people think they're demonic. Where do you stand on that?
I think some of them are all right and some of them aren't.
Hmm,
And I think they're from different dimensions.
okay.
And it all depends who wants to show up first, I think. I think I think the governments are too frightened of us panicking.
Yeah, I think you're
You
right there.
know,
I think that's why we haven't got disclosure. I think that's why it's always getting pushed back. Oh yeah, tomorrow, next year. It's always next year, isn't it? There's always some date in the
I
future.
remember when they did that War of the Worlds on radio.
Oh yeah,
People were
that
panicking,
people went absolutely crazy, didn't
in its streets, and it was a joke.
they? But
You
Orson Welles
know,
was a bit of a genius. But yeah,
yes,
it was.
I think he was a clever man.
It was. Yeah, that was H.G. Wells. But yeah, who wrote it? But yeah, I think that's the reason why we possibly haven't got disclosure. That the fact that we are not alone, whatever they are, there is something
I
here.
think my personal thing is
Mm.
they'll show up before the governments tell us about it. I think they'll just turn up in big cities
Well,
where thousands of
yeah,
people are going to see them.
but this is the difference now, isn't it? Living in this age, is that everyone's got a decent mobile phone. So if something appears, like a minute later, you've got your phone out filming it as evidence, haven't you? Whereas
Oh
we
my
didn't have
God, yeah.
we didn't have that 20, 30 years ago or in the 70s. We didn't have that. If you had a camera you were very lucky. Or So now
But
we
Mark, don't you think more people are coming out now and
mm,
talking about the sightings or
yeah.
paranormal events or spiritual events that have happened in their life and say, yeah, that's happened to me.
Yeah,
But I don't
absolutely.
like saying no because I'll get ridiculed at work or if I say anything, people will laugh at me.
No, it is becoming because I gave a talk recently. I was asked to talk about my film to one of these posh private members clubs in London. And I was a bit wary at first because usually I have the likes of Boris Johnson and things like that. And I think, okay, I'll go along with an open mind. It was really, really cool. And people coming up to me and goes, well, actually, yeah, you said about, because I said to them, everyone in the room. I bet you most people here have had some paranormal or UFO experience that they can't explain, and people are shaking their heads. Then one by one, each one. Oh, actually, yeah, there was something that happened. So I reckon everyone's had, but and they're getting braver now to admit that yeah, okay, there was something weird there. Because most people just want to file it away because it doesn't fit in nice to their tidy lives, does it? I've got this thing that happened. It's a bit weird. Don't know how to explain it. Whereas I think people are getting more brave now because more and more people are coming out and talking about it, like you said.
Paranormal. Have you ever had anything bad happen to you on a paranormal event? Being touched or?
Not me, no. To be honest, no. I know people who have had bad stuff, but no. I mean,
Otherwise, there's a lot on TV at the moment.
hmm,
A bit false, some of it, for viewers, really. I can imagine to give a viewer audience to get more people watching is put it on a little bit, and it makes other people look bad.
yeah. I mean, I understand that. I mean, what we do with our TV show, we just try and keep it real. Don't want to have that play acting. I understand you want to entertain, which is great, but then there's a fine line between entertaining and then, basically lying. We don't want to do that. We just want to, tell it like it is, which is what we did in this Christmas Eve episode. So yeah, I understand what you're saying there.
But yeah, I love getting out there and investigating. I love getting out. I'm not bothered if it's cold, snowy, frosty. I like, well, Paul just gives me the old nod or texts me and say, "Be ready in 5 minutes. We're off out." I go, right. And he always says, best part, he always says, make sure you got plenty of clothes on.
Yeah, that's the thing that we found out is, yeah, especially in December, it's pretty cold. Even down south, it's quite cold.
We always go out on Christmas Eve. Always going out on Christmas Eve, and we always give a Christmas message from top of cliffs to everybody.
Nice. I like that. That is cool.
Yeah, just tell everybody what we've been up to and what we're doing, and show them at top of cliffs what it's like in freezing weather. But this, I think Christmas Eve this year is going to be not cold. It's going to be quite warm.
Looks like it, doesn't it? So
It's going to be up to about 15 degrees.
So let me ask you a question. So you think these beings, whatever, these are interdimensional or maybe time travelers? How can they help ordinary people? Because I guess my mission is to try and make this thing, whatever it is out there, I call it the mental internet. It's like a psychic ether that can be used for good. But I want to make this accessible for everyone, not just the people that know. You see what I mean? At the moment, it seems to me like it's a bit of a private club.
I see where you're going there. Yeah. Sometimes some people don't like other people helping out, and I think we ought to get more people interested in it, get more people going to the conferences who've never been before, so they understand a little bit more about UFO and paranormal, what could happen in the future. Definitely, because you talk to some people and they go, "Oh God, I'm frightened about that. What if this happened? What if that happened?"
Yeah, we definitely need.
I think, we talked about good aliens and bad aliens. What's going to happen? I think some of them are here to help us to survive in case anything happens to our planet. Quite possibly it could happen in the future. We don't know.
Okay.
Are we willing to go to other planets?
Well, this is it. I mean, there is some theory that the original inhabitants of Earth were actually from Mars, and that's why Mars is abandoned now. There was a civilization on Mars. Maybe had climate change and all that stuff, and then came onto to Earth. So maybe we're all Martians.
Theories about Mars. Yeah.
Yeah,
They
because it
came
is.
from,
I mean, I
and
guess
then
the more, mm,
they
more it,
wanted to come back to England, to England now. They wanted to come back to Earth now.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure
yeah,
there's bases underwater because the Earth has got more water than land.
yeah, absolutely, yeah, and yeah, there could be all sorts of unknown
We think
entities.
there's a base out at North Sea.
Yeah, where? Just off
In the
Bridlington.
North Sea, where we're not far away from us. There's an area out there
Yeah,
where boats can't go. They said it's for submarines only. There's an area. Just makes you wonder all these why the boats, and a lot of the boats go out there and say things have gone, dials have gone queer. You know,
yeah,
we've lost signal, we've lost this, we've lost that. Lots of planes have gone over Flamborough and disappeared.
yeah.
And when Paul investigated, somebody said, I don't know if they know about this, but we call it the Flamborough. Oh, what do they call it now? Like a Bermuda Triangle, but we call it the Flamborough Triangle,
Excellent.
and that came from somewhere. I can't just say where it came from, but that
Yeah.
was one of they telling Paul about it. Paul went, that was just off the cuff remark,
Wow. Yeah. Well, so
and
that'd
it
be.
just makes you wonder why things happen round this area.
There just seems to be a lot on the east coast, doesn't there, of the UK?
It's
Like I said.
like the RAF Benton.
Hmm,
Why it was built in that place? It was
hmm,
all underground.
hmm,
There's so many theories about that place over
hmm.
the years. What's happened? What entities have come out of there? And we
Well,
spoke to a guy, and he worked there as an 18-year-old, and he said my sole job on the night time was to go outside with the camera and take photos of unusual objects. That was
well,
his job at 18.
excellent. Wow. So yeah,
Bonkers, isn't it?
it's bonkers. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of
When
stuff.
me and Paul met him, he wanted to be a secluded place. It was a Cater Bay. I think it was something like November. It was a road what led to nowhere. He
Ooh,
parked his car up top. We parked it down, and we met him middle. And his first thing said, "Can I have your phones off you, please?"
okay.
I said, "Well, what's he on about?" So we gave him his phones and went and sat at back at the car. He was telling us things. Well, felt unreal, really. He just said, I
Wow.
can tell you, but there's 1, 2, and 3 what come out there at Benton,
Wow.
like aliens, visitations.
Whoa.
And it just makes you wonder then why places like that have more things happening than places like Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah, but who holds the truth? Who has access to this? Who is keeping the secret? That's the question.
Well, it is a big question that
You
where
know.
does it all come from?
Yeah. I
And
know, but who knows the actual truth? That's the thing. How high does it go, or is it all compartmentalized? And say, like, even King Charles doesn't know, or President Biden doesn't know, because it's all been, kind of privatized, free from the Freedom of Information Act. It's all little defense black budget things going on. That's my theory, anyway. Which is why we're not getting disclosure, because the private companies that own this technology, or want to own the technology, and want to reverse engineer it, want to make money out
well,
of it.
I'm going to say because if we could do anything like that, we won't need oil, we won't need that, and I presume if that happened, companies like that, pharmaceutical companies, would go bust if we get things what we could heal ourselves.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, wouldn't need any more drugs or
We
vaccines or
wouldn't need
whatever.
petrol or diesel or anything like that if we could power his own vehicles.
But then I guess you come into conspiracy land, don't you? That's being kept from us because they want to keep us subjugated and keep us kind of subservient. I mean, I'm not saying that's the truth. I'm just saying that's a theory, because in my new film that's coming out, God versus UFOs, we look at something called Project Bluebeam. I don't know if you heard about that before.
Oh, yeah.
It's about using holographic technology, Hollywood special effects, to try and fake either an alien invasion or the second coming of Christ, with the intention of putting the population into fear, a bit like it did through COVID and all the extreme measures there, so that population can be malleable and, they can do what the government tells them. So basically losing freedoms and things like that. That's a possibility. I'm not saying it's right, but we look into that. We also look into people who say that the UK and US governments both looked into this and decided that they're not going to investigate because it's demonic in origin. I mean, there are records that show that. The Reverend Paul Inglesby and Lord Hill Norton report all refers to this. That basically they didn't want to touch it because it's demonic. I mean, I don't think that's the case, but I think it kind of alludes to the fact that it's not just a straightforward extraterrestrial in a spacesuit that's flown over from another planet. It's something far weirder, and I think that's the actual truth. The truth is far weirder than just an extraterrestrial, that we see in science fiction movies. It's something far weirder, and that's the scary bit, I guess, for people.
Oh, definitely. I forgot to tell you, but if you go into comments, press on comments, there's loads in chat room. And I forgot to say, anybody in the chat room wants to ask Mark a question. Anybody wants to ask Mark a question, feel free to write it, and I'll put it in comments there, and then we'll go through it. Both of me and Mark will answer your question.
Absolutely, yeah. I just got to try and log in. So bear with me.
There's been quite a few people in there.
I see that, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you that. Too busy talking.
That's all right.
Busy yapping on. It's I'm glad you're doing your documentary.
Yeah, thanks. I'm just trying to log in. No, there's a lot of things going on. And my last film, God vs. Aliens, that's done very well in America. It's out on Tubi. Got a lot of press, which is great, and actually it's been picked up by a big Californian Hollywood distributor.
Oh,
so
brilliant!
It's actually going to be shown at Cannes Film Festival, which is like, whoa!
Oh my God,
like,
that is.
I mean, which is considering I made the film mostly myself for a few £1,000s. It's a really low budget, but I'd say that in a nice way. It's made nicely and looks okay, and it's mind blowing a little bit, but yeah, to make it on such a small budget is quite a proud moment, really.
I'm going to say, because Paul's got his out, Wolflands, and that's doing quite well.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's on Amazon, isn't it? Which is good.
Yeah, it's on Amazon. Yeah. And like we say, I said to Paul, you've done well with that, because you're still in top 100 where people have spent millions on theirs documentaries, and you've done it on a budget you and less.
That's really good, yeah.
So so hopefully Alison's she's usually always got a question to ask.
Yeah, I'm just trying to log into the chat at the minute, which is why I'm faffing about with my phone so I can answer questions.
That's fine. That's fine.
I don't know why it's not working, but yeah, go.
So you're still doing your music as well, then?
I haven't done so much this year, to be honest. But yeah, I probably will do next year. I was hoping to do a 25th anniversary gig, but my keyboard player's not been very well, and I didn't want to do a gig without him because he's an original member as well. So
that's fair enough. I know I was going to ask you, because what's your thoughts on Men in Black then?
Yeah, I like the idea of them. It's quite. I mean, I kind of, my favorite ufologist is John Keel, the American. Just because I like and he used to go on about the Men in Black being of kind of otherworldly beings, which I quite like that. As opposed to being government officers, there's something a bit supernatural about them. I don't know if that's true or not, but
I've had my own experience.
Have you? Okay, tell us about it.
Yeah, it's in part one of his books.
Okay.
Oh, I thought we should write some of that. Now I said, oh yeah, it happened when I was dog sitting for a friend of mine. He'd gone on a cruise to Australia for a month.
Okay.
And that was in 2017, where a lot of things were happening at Benton. Sheep
Mhm.
mutilations were happening up there. We'd seen an underwater craft, me and Paul had seen in the sea.
Wow.
Uh, seen a rectangle object outside of a cliff. It must have been about 300 by 100, just
Wow.
outside a cliff. And we're both watching this underwater triangle in the sea. And we both turned to us, right? And we both saw it together.
Oh,
We
wow.
were amazed at why we both turned at the same
Mm,
time. I said,
mm.
for what the hell is that outside the cliff? And all them things were happening. Sheep mutilations, 60 had gone missing, well, being cut up. And farmer got rid of it later. And Alison's just saying, what's your thoughts on dogmen?
Dogmen. Yeah, I mean, I don't quite know what they are, but I know Philip Kinsella's talked about them.
Oh, Philip,
What's
yeah. Yeah, he's a good friend of mine.
yeah, he
Sorry,
seems to.
just in front work, Bob. Yeah,
I mean, I
so
mean, are they paranormal? Do you think dogmen, or are they?
oh yeah, yeah. So I was telling you about Men in Black,
Mm,
and so I was dog sitting, and leading up to when it happened, when they're knocking at the door,
mhm,
I said to Paul, "You won't believe it." I said, "Watching telly, and it's a house on its own, separate from anywhere else,
mm,
and I'm, I'm watching telly, and it's corner of my eye, I saw a dog looking out, and there were
mm,
like double door windows, and I'm
mm,
looking out, I thought, what's that bloke doing out there in a funny hat? And I thought, I'm seeing things. So I thought, right. So I opened one door, opened back door, let the dog run out. So let dog out first. See, and round the back garden, the fence is about 7 foot high. So you've got to be good to get over these fences.
oh,
And it went round and round and round and round, came back in, thought note of it. I thought, I'll tell Pauline when I see him tomorrow.
mm, mm,
I said, you won't believe it. He said, really? I went, yeah. I said, in the morning, I went out, checked all the way around. There were no footprints anywhere.
mm. Right.
So,
Okay.
forgot about that. During the week, I used to take dog out on the beach, and a couple of times I saw a strange object in the sky. It was
Mm,
purple, and I was trying to figure out, and I've got things on my phone so you can check what's in the
mm,
sky. I thought, that looks like a UFO. Or is it a UFO? Anyway,
mhm,
few mornings walking down into town to the charity shop, I kept seeing this strange car with blacked out windows. You know, your mind's going, wonder what them are there. And I'm thinking, it can't be nobody following me. Why me? Stupid. I'm thinking, don't be silly, Bob. Who wants to follow you?
mhm,
Anyway, this happened in weeks and leading up to it. And then one day I got back, September 11th or 13th, I think it was. Just got back, and the house was cold. I thought, bloody hell, it's a big house to warm up. Heating wasn't working right. So I rang his sister up and I said, can you come down and sort this heating out for me? Right, I'll be down in 10. She came down. Why don't you light fire? So I lit the fire. 8 o'clock, two glass doors. Go through one door to another door. And I thought, who the hell's this about 8 o'clock at night? Dog was barking, so I thought, I'll put dog out and back.
mm, mm.
And I got to the first door and I'm looking through and I thought, what's police doing here? So I opened one door and got to, and I thought, it can't be. I opened the door and the two of them stood there.
Right.
And straight, and when I look back now, you know, the faces looked not real faces.
That's what
Plastic.
people have said, haven't they? Yeah.
They looked like porcelain
Wow.
faces. And they said, I said, what you doing here? I was a bit bloody broke, really. And I thought, I was a bit frightened as well, like.
Yeah.
And they said to me, what you've been looking at, what you've been seeing, it's not true.
Wow.
And then they said something else, and then one of them just leaned over and just said, we are watching you. Turned
Mhm.
around. disappeared. I banged the bloody door quickly, went inside. I ran upstairs to the front bedroom to look out. And I couldn't see anybody. Vanished.
Ah.
And it seemed to be a bit lighter then when I got upstairs. I don't know why. And I went back downstairs and sat there thinking, was that real? Am I seeing something strange here? I thought, you're trying to figure out who are they, what they're doing here. And I couldn't rest. And then when I went to bed, I slept in, never sleeping. I woke up, tried to put the power on, and all the lighting in the house had gone off. It was strange. And his power bank was in the cellar, in his wine cellar. So I had to go down these bloody steps, really steep steps. I went down and flicked them, and I thought there's no wrong with them, and then lights came back on. Well, I thought it was a bit strange. And then when I got back into town, because I work at a charity shop, I rang Paul up and I said, I need to see you. You better come round to see me. Anyway, he came round and told me. He went back home, got in his car, went to where I was stopping and knocked on everybody's door to see if anybody had got videos, cameras.
Yeah.
That's a true investigator, that is.
Yeah. How can we get proof?
And then he came back and he said, I need to see you round in my house. So I went round and we talked, and then he got Chris Turner to video me. And it was in a documentary called The Bampton Phenomena.
So I guess my question to you is what was that? Who were they working for? Is it some extraterrestrial, interdimensional being or is it?
I don't know who they are. They looked at the faces looked so. They didn't look real. Them faces. I saw him close up. One of them leaned over, and it looked like porcelain. Don't know why. Very strange and weird.
But the good thing, it hasn't stopped you. So
yeah, because
you're still investigating.
After that, I said to Paul, it's not going to stop me.
No.
If anything happens, make sure I get buried.
But
it's frightening. It's frightening at the time.
Yeah,
I know. I laugh about it now, and I think I wouldn't like it to happen to anybody. Really, some people might affect them more.
I just wonder about the nuts and bolts of it all. If it was someone to warn you, where were they coming from? Who were they working for? Why? These are the questions that go through my mind. Obviously, you were going to be scared. What was the purpose of the visit? There's obviously some purpose behind it, scare you off, but why?
Oh, yeah, trying to scare us off.
Near the truth, maybe, to keep you away from that.
Up at Bampton at that time, we'd parked up one night in the car, and Paul's got a really good, if you touch it, alarms go off. Went down to the seafront one night, came back, and I get in the car, and he went, make sure you don't jam that car. And I went, windows down, Paul, in car. He said, are you sure? I went, yes. Anyway, we got in, we sat there thinking, now then, on the way up, did you touch anything? And it was a very cold night. I mean, it must have been -6. So we wouldn't have had the window open. And then as we're driving off, Paul went, it's cold round my neck. And the window behind him was down. So somebody got in the car without the alarms going off.
Wow.
Work that one out.
Yeah, but why? What's the purpose? Right, we got
probably frighten us, really.
We got some questions. Alison
Janice in that room. Mark, do you have any thoughts on Sumerians and
let me just answer Dogman first from Alison. We started talking about it. It just got me on the track that I think Dogman might be the same as Bigfoot. I don't think Bigfoot is a physical breeding species that's out there. There's a guy called Robert Bartholomew who's a bit skeptical, but he's a sociologist in America, and he makes the good point: where are all the bodies of all these creatures. No one's ever found a body. There should be something somewhere. To have a viable breeding population, there's going to be some bodies found, some bones found somewhere. No one's ever found any. And where's mama foot? Where's little foot? Where's all the, to have this breeding species, you need all these things. So I tend to think that there's something possibly interdimensional, paranormal about these creatures that float in and out. Yeah, and that ties in with the Native Americans and their legends, because that's what they thought these beings were. So, and who are we to tell them otherwise? So that's what I think on that. Regarding the Sumerians and Anunnaki, definitely. I mean, that's definitely something there. I mean, I'm lucky enough, I don't live too far from London, so I go down to the British Library the British Museum quite a lot. There's so much stuff in there. You go there and just examine it, take photos. There's so much kind of ancient history that could be linked to extraterrestrials, especially the Sumerians. They were one of the first civilizations on Earth. Where did they come from? There's all these legends of these sky gods, and they could have come from somewhere else. I mean, the Sumerians and Anunnaki, say that we're a slave race, basically, that, we were made as a slave, hybrid race to serve the Anunnaki. So I think there's definitely something to it. And I think it just points to the direction that there is a lot of lost history. Like we said earlier, we don't know, basically, don't know a lot of it. Even tying to the Egyptians, we still don't know the true history of Egypt, how it was all built, why, what's the purpose of all the pyramids,
Exactly. There's lots of theories of the pyramids about what they used it for and how it was built. We didn't have technology then, or did we have technology?
Well, this is it. Yeah, maybe we did have technology, and that's the thing, and it's just been completely lost. But I guess, if we had, I mean, the only thing that kind of lasts, hundreds of thousands of years is stone, I guess. Anything else gets eroded away, I guess. Alison's asking a question about they don't find bare bones. Well, they do find bare bones, but yeah, it is a mystery. But
yeah, they've always said that about Bigfoot and all. Why don't they find bones? But they say they bury them. They come round and collect them and bury them. But when you're seeing programs on about Bigfoot, I think they're interdimensional, because they're there one minute and vanish next minute.
Yeah, I mean that's where I'm going with this. I think all these creatures, that would explain a lot. But then we're going into that. How do we explain other dimensions? How does that fit into physics? How we explain the world? I mean, we've got the Hadron Collider is actually about to prove that there is other dimensions. So
what about when you see? Well, I've seen spirit in the road in front of me. 1 minute it's there, the next minute it walked through into a wall. In middle of daylight, this was up there, not far away from here. It was. I was living with a mine, and you walk up this ginnel, and when I'm walking up, the back of the church is like there, and I'm walking here, and this bloke, a strange atom, walked into that wall and vanished. Wow. Is it because I can see sometimes spirit walking into things like other people can't? Am I tuned in more?
I think so, yeah. That would explain it. These things are probably around us all the time, and only those that are tuned in, that are open to it. I still think everyone can have access to it. That's my thing. I think everyone can. But
yeah, I think we are. I think some people can tune in more.
Yeah.
And see more.
So, I mean, which would help us a lot, I think, if we could all access this and realize that maybe life on Earth is just one plane of existence, and that when we die, it's not all over. Our energy goes somewhere. I tend to believe in an afterlife.
What you got plan for the future for yourself then?
Uh, I'm actually making a film next year. Well, in January, start filming in January. It's called King of UFOs, and it's about the British royal family's interest in UFOs and the paranormal. And I'm quite excited about this because it's been co-produced by Rain Dance, the film festival, which is really cool for me. And they're right behind it. And it's going to be an interesting film. And we've got a Canadian guy we're going to interview. I've interviewed him already, actually, and he claims to have worked with Prince Charles in 1975 in Nova Scotia on a secret military project where Prince Charles flew a prototype UFO. It sounds sounds fantastical,
It does, yeah.
but there is credibility to it. And I've interviewed him, and it was basically it looks like a flying saucer. It had dual rotor blades. It had some sort of weird magnet thing going on, as he describes it. So some sort of weird electromagnetic technology. Whether it's extraterrestrial or not, I don't know. But there was something weird going on. And Charles, who was a helicopter pilot at the time, stationed nearby, was part of this project and flew this craft. So that's going to be explored in this documentary. Some
Oh,
new
sounds
things
interesting.
that have never been. Yeah. So yeah, just having a look at the questions.
Alison's saying there, Bob,
That's,
my work colleague witnessed the clock going
wow,
round in a fast motion, then stopped on the time it was.
that is cool. maybe they've
My,
stepped in vortex or something.
I'm going to say last night,
Mm.
3 times my phone went off and on, off, on, off. And I was writing something about you.
All right. Okay.
Or not.
Yeah, that'll do
And
it.
then, so what I did, I turned everything off on the phone, started it again, checked if the battery had gone down, and there was 50% on it. So I don't know who was trying to get into my phone or not. I
That
don't
is
know.
weird, yeah.
So I left it for ages. I was writing my show up, in fact, on my phone about you. And
Mm.
so I thought, right, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll go put it in the kitchen away from me, away from anything, to see if anything happened. I brought it back again. Started back on where I left off, for
Mm.
strange enough, and it was still there, and it worked again perfectly.
Wow.
So
Mm.
it's strange what things can happen.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's definitely something. If you look out for the signs like synchronicities,
Gonna say
you'll
that.
see them and you'll get more. The weirdest one I had fairly recently was in Suffolk, in a place called Kessingland. It's a little fishing village, and I was on holiday there with my family, having a good time. I was listening to Radio 6, and I'm in a band, and one of my songs came on. Okay, nothing unusual in that. Well, it was actually, but so it's great. And they said, "Oh, that's Pocket God's song was called Perfect Blue." Oh, that's cool. It's got played on radio. And the guy that texted in after that song to BBC Radio 6 said, "Oh, great song. This is from Keith in Kessingland." So the guy was actually in Kessingland when he texted about that song. And it's like, okay, I'm in Kessingland. That's weird. So that was just like the odds of that happening, because it's quite a small village as well, and we're not a famous band really. So yeah, that was weird. So I think you just got to look out for these synchronicities, and then more will appear, and that's kind of you tapping into the universe, which obviously you are already, Bob, with the experiences that you get. So I think if we're open to them, I think we can all experience these things, which might, give us faith that there's more to life out there than just, the daily 9 to 5 slog.
Yeah, but well, it's good. But you're getting into these documentaries. I think it's a great thing because and hopefully things will happen more for you when you're going to these events. Get
Yeah, I
out
hope
there
so.
more, and I think you pick up more when you're out there.
Yeah, definitely think so as well. I mean, what I want to do with these documentaries is to open up to a wider audience and get people talking about it really, and getting them tuned into the fact that, okay, yeah, there is more to life than just a material existence. That's what I want to do, and I think it's happening a little bit, which is cool. Uh, so yeah, I mean, it's a passion, and it's a quest for me. But I think we all also have to be careful on this quest that we don't all go crazy, because it can be all consuming, and maybe there is a dark side to it.
It can take over your life.
Yeah, and you've got to be grounded in.
I'm quite lucky. I'm single, so
Right.
Paul's all right because his wife Mary's, she's not interested in UFOs, so he likes Paul to get out there and do his own thing.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah. My wife's very much into this, and she's had a lot of experience. So, we're both kind of on the same wave there. I'm just going to share my YouTube channel. Someone's just asked for it. So
yeah, she has, Janice.
Yeah, there's lots of weird stuff on it. So have a look.
Oh, that's good.
Hopefully that'll come up. So yeah.
Oh yeah, it's up there. Yeah.
You've just got to keep on asking the questions, and hopefully the answers will come. But I think we're at a weird time. We've got all these things going on. We've got possible disclosure happening. We've got the Hadron Collider, possibly, proving that there are other dimensions.
That is amazing. What I call a vehicle to do things like that.
Yeah. So that's just pushing the scientific world. Science will catch up with the reality that we have. And I speak that I do have a science degree, but it's also.
But what I know I'm going back to your next document, but that sounds very interesting with Prince Charles.
Yeah, I mean that was it is interesting, and yeah, he has an interest in alternative thinking anyway. He wants to be the king of all faiths. I know he's always been into homeopathy, which some people regard as witchcraft, especially my GP. I actually quite like homeopathy, but
I do. I've got a friend who does that.
Yeah, it's a bit out there, and my wife does it, and it's great, and it does work. But you can't explain it rationally or scientifically, because it doesn't make sense that way. But he's been into that. He's obviously been into talking to plants. People ridicule him for that. So I think he's open to. It's how much he knows, how much was passed down by his father and his uncle. Because Lord Mountbatten, I don't know if you're aware, had actually UFO land on his estate in Hampshire, and he didn't see it, but his groundsman, can't remember his name, Fred something it was, made a report about it, and Mountbatten did a statement swearing to his employees' truthfulness and honesty. So, and that's on record there, and there's a drawing of the UFO and the creature that came out. That's all on record. So we'll be looking into that a little bit more as well. So that interest from Mountbatten was then passed on to Prince Philip, and then how much it's gone on to, because Prince Philip, I'm interviewing someone who's actually corresponded quite a lot with Prince Philip and the Queen, sharing letters about UFOs and paranormal things, and they actually had their own reference library of paranormal UFO and crop circle books. So that's interesting.
I heard about Prince Philip with his UFOs. He there are lots of papers on them. Alison's in this chat room. She just said, "What is your most frightening experience, Mark?"
Probably my last gig. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to get too weird and depressing and stuff, but the most frightening stuff that's happened to me has been real world stuff. When I was a kid, actual people doing stuff, horrible stuff. That's the frightening bit for me. I don't find this phenomena particularly frightening. I haven't had any frightening experiences, I think, but I do think there is a dark side. I do think, I won't say demons, but I think there is good and evil in the world, I mean, all the ancient cultures said there's always, you can't have one without the other. There's always this light and this dark, there's good, there's evil, and that's what I believe. And I think I have seen some of that dark side in the stuff that happened to me as a kid. So
Frightening, isn't it?
yeah, so I think there is, there is evil out there, but I do temper that when I think that the light, the love, God, whatever you want to call it, is a lot stronger. And I think if you ever feel yourself ever in danger, which I have sometimes, I've had some really bad, very real, lucid nightmares, which may be something else. But I always just call out to God. I mean, I guess I was raised as a Christian, so I kind of take that as and just make the sign of a cross, because that's what's powerful to me, and usually things just go away.
If it
So
works for you, why not?
yeah, precisely. I'm not saying everyone should do that, but whatever works for you, whatever your faith is or your belief, then use whatever gives you power to dispel the dark forces.
Alison's saying, do you believe the earth is hell?
Well, there's a place near me called Hatfield, which probably is. And if there's anyone viewing from Hatfield, I apologise. It's a new town. Well, but no, taking your serious point, I think I've actually spoken to Yvette Fielding about this, and she seems to think that there's higher levels, and Earth is just one level, which is a bit lower, and then you kind of progress through the levels through existence. But I wouldn't say Earth was hell. No, I mean, it depends. It does seem like that at the moment with politicians and all the crazy things going on. But I do believe that most people are generally good, whatever background they're from, whatever country. I do believe that most people are decent, and that's, it's a good starting point. There's a goodness in everyone.
Have you thought about writing a book about playing in your band?
Yeah, I've actually written one. It's out there. It's called Weird: The Life and Times of a Pocket God.
All right. Where can you get that?
I'll find the link for you. I think it's on Amazon, I think, like everything in it. But I'll have a look. It's quite funny. But it's got lots of weird stuff. There's probably more weird stuff that I haven't talked about tonight. I think it's still in print. Oh yeah. I'll put the link in.
Right. Wonderful.
It's quite, yeah, I've been quite proud of that. It's quite a good. If anyone wants to check it out. This comment has failed to post.
Right, there you go, everyone. That's where you can get Mark's book.
Hasn't come out, I don't think.
Life and Times of a Band Member.
Have you seen it? Has it come out?
I can see it there.
It's not okay. Okay. Doesn't seem to be posting, but yeah, it's not working. I don't know why.
No, but you can look for it. You can look for it.
It's fine. It's not. Yeah, it's or if anyone wants to message me, that's fine. But yeah.
So do you do your own podcast then?
I don't know. Don't really have time at the moment. I'm just making the films really and investigating. He's laughing at me. But,
you must. But I know what it's like going out there and you're doing it on your own. God, it's
and I've got a family. I've got 3 kids, and this is my. I mean, I'm lucky enough that this is my job now, which is But so yeah, very lucky and very grateful. But I will say this: I've been through some tough times, had some hard times as well. But I think you do create your own reality. You can put your mind to anything if you want. I'm a firm believer in that. Some people call it the law of attraction, whatever it is. But I firmly believe you can change your life around just by focusing, and you can. And I've done it. So I'm not.
Yeah, but that's good. It proves that you can make things work.
Absolutely. You can. Absolutely. Yeah. It's following your passion. It's having that. Don't do anything unless you get that hell yeah factor. If someone says, "Oh, would you like to do this?" You think, "Oh, okay, I could do." If you got that, don't do it. You've got to have that. Yeah, I want to do it. that's when you do stuff. I mean, you love what you do, don't you? So
Oh God, I love
yeah,
like Paul saying he'll come up tea time, right? Do you fancy going tonight, 6:30? I said, yeah, I'll be downstairs 6:30 and we're out. It don't matter if it's raining, snowing,
yeah,
freezing. We'll go
yeah.
out for a couple of hours. Why not? If
Yeah.
we see something, it's a bonus. If we don't, we have a good laugh.
Yeah, it's hanging out with people as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is good.
Well, we're just about out of time.
Oh, that's a
But
shame.
thank you, Mark.
Yeah,
Thanks
no,
for
thank you
getting
for
to
having
know
me.
me.
I'm just if anyone has Sky, Christmas Eve,
Oh,
7,
yes.
7 p.m. UFO summoning. I'll put it in the
What
chat.
channel is it?
Sky
18
186 at 7 o'clock,
186
Xmas
at
Eve,
7 o'clock.
and
Sounds very interesting. I'll tape it and then watch it when I get back.
yeah, let me know. It was good fun, and
I'll
kind
tell
of is
Paul as well.
cool. Philip's in it as well, so
Oh, is he? I know Philip,
yes.
the twin. Yeah,
Well,
we're on it.
he kind of inspired it because it was his kind of thing that inspired it because he's done it before and it worked for him. So
I love him. They're
yeah,
good friends of mine.
yeah, it's a nice guy.
Oh, brilliant.
All right, thanks,
Brilliant
Bob.
people to know. Yeah, thank you, Mark. Thank you to everybody in the chat room.
Yeah, no, thank you all.
I'd like to say Merry Christmas to everyone in the chat room. Hope you have a lovely Christmas, Mark.
Yeah, you too, Bob. Yeah, see you next
And I
year.
look forward to see you next year.
Chat
And
again
we'll
next
get you
year.
back on.
That'd be brilliant. Thanks for
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I'll tell Paul about you.
Yeah, no, it'd be great to catch up with Paul as well. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so good night and God bless.
Yeah.
Have a great Christmas.
You too.
And everybody in the chat room, thank you for being with me in my new show for the last five weeks, I think, or 6.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. It's really good.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for the questions.
Take care.
Okay, bye, people.
Oh, yeah, it's nice when everybody asks the questions.